the end of 2020, I nearly got cancelled on Twitter. And ever since then, I realized, wait a minute, one tweet could end my career. So having this as my only source, that doesn't make sense.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Mr. Money Jar Show. This week's guest needs no introduction. It's TikTok personal finance star Poku Banks. In this week's episode, we talk about his rise to fame. We talk about how he manages his time and how he makes his money. And we excitingly talk about his plans for the future as well. There's a lot of gems in this episode and I hope you'll enjoy it. You're tuned into the Mr. Money Jar Show. It's showtime. Poku, how you doing?
I'm good, man. It's good to be here. It's good to talk again. I think, is it 3 years after the first IG Live?
3 years. We've known each other for 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's big, man. That's big, man. Now, live in the flesh, proper settings, the backdrop. Yeah, no, that's nice. They're red.
Thank you for joining. I have a lot of things that I want to talk to you about today, but just give us a little flavor of what you do, just for the people who...
Yeah, so essentially, I teach the UK about personal finance, Gen Zs predominantly, and those a little bit older. I trade currencies. I'm a co-founder of the Gen Z Club, where we bridge a gap between companies and Gen Zs, hosting networking events all across the UK for people to meet like-minded individuals. And yeah, man, it's a serial entrepreneur.
And over the past 3 years, you've been building the brand. How would you say the scene has changed in terms of personal finance, content creation? Have you noticed anything since 2020?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed changes. Initially, just off the jump, people are now understood that it's a problem. I feel like back when I started, but people didn't understand, finances is a problem that I may have in the future to come. Now it's very clear, okay, cool, I need to focus on this. If I don't start now, then things will get very dark for me in my financial future. So yeah, people understand it's a problem. Brands understand it's a problem. You know, all parties are understanding, even it's getting closer, but the government as well. But I feel like people are now realizing that it is now a thing that they need to focus on, for sure.
And why is that? Because of the cost of living crisis? Or
yeah, cost of living crisis, inflation, world events, COVID-19 back when that came. All these things that happen around us is definitely showing us. And for example, especially with the cost of living crisis, I'm talking about inflation. Now it's hitting home for people. It hit different now, So with it happening live, especially with interest rates as well, rising as well, people are just, they're noticing that, things are costing way more to do. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be my next question, which is that we're in a period of normally high interest rates, at least for people who are used to the past,
0.25
decade and a half. Inflation really high, not been this high since like the 70s, 80s. House prices, mortgage rates doing their thing. How do you feel about what's going on in this country at the moment?
Well, it was definitely interesting times, and I feel like now it's just the time for people to decide whether they want to be victims to, inflation or, the way things are run, especially by the government, or do you want to take control of your own life? Do you want to, steer the ship and take yourself into your financial future? As we've seen with even the recent, government, this trust was in Parliament for how many days? 31 days.
I think it's 44, but yeah.
Yeah. So when you see things like that, initially you just think, okay, cool. You shouldn't even put your trust or you shouldn't put where your life trajectory is going in the trust of those up above. You need to take control of your own life, whether that is working on yourself, building skills that you can do things, or if you have to, leave the country. If you don't like it, you can leave. So in terms of the country or the economic climate we're in now, I just see it as like, you know what, you look back in history and you see, okay, cool, in the 1970s, they went through all of these things. Margaret Thatcher went through all of these things. This is now our turn. So it's one of the ones where, in a way, for me personally, it's not underwhelming because, like, when you read back on it in history, you think, wow, they went through high inflation, but then you're going through it. I mean, you think of ways how you can battle it and just get through day by day. So I just see it as like, for me personally, I'll make my way through it. I've got to do what I've got to do. But as a whole country, it's definitely interesting times. And this is where those that are financially literate will take advantage, and this is what they've been waiting for.
So there's definitely a place for people to help themselves and build themselves up. And that's what you talk about on your platforms. You give people the tools and the information that they can use to improve their situation. But as someone who has actually spoken directly to Rishi Sunak in the media, when we were going through the whole thing about young people learning maths until 18, what is your message to the government? Because I think there's two parts to it, right? They don't need to be separate. There's what people can do for themselves, but we do have elected governments in place who we ask to manage the country's finances as well. So what would you say to them?
Yeah, no, I think for me personally, it's just introducing personal finance on a basic level. Now, I understand that, people may have the option to pick finances maybe in HRE, but optional is not good enough. It needs to be compulsory. And it doesn't have to be too in-depth, whether that means making maths more applicable and adding it into a curriculum that way, or, just adding it as a subject that you can do maybe 20 minutes with informed time or whatnot. Doing that and something that you can be graded on can definitely help. Will definitely help the people of the UK. Why they're not doing it, we'll get to know eventually. But yeah, that's what I'd say is the first step. Because again, if the next generation can grow up through that and learning that, we'll have a way more financially literate cohort, which can then help them to go on towards the future. But again, I think it's always down to the individual to then also go out the way to then learn more. I always say, be self-seeking, go out of your way to find out information. It's great to be told, okay, there's this and that, but then it always requires you to go out your way to then do some further research and see how it applies to your situation.
You've been hinting at that throughout the conversation so far. So what sorts of things can people do to improve their situation? Because that's the journey you found yourself on back in 2020, right? You tried a few things. You got yourself on TikTok, you were posting videos every day, and here you are today. So for people who want to go on a similar journey to that, what practical tips and takeaways can we give them to improve their situation in the current climate?
Yeah, no, simply understand that YouTube and Google are your best friends. These are powerful tools that have where you have access to billions and billions of pages through your iPhone, just in your pocket. So, find out information, there's no excuse anymore. Maybe in the 90s, the 80s, you had to go to the library, you had to be in certain groups or economic groups to find out information. But now it's a level playing field. So now you have no excuse. So it's now up to you to then go out the way to find out this information, research, just ask Google. We've even got AI now. You can make use of that to help you and aid your way to success. So you can ask it many questions, especially ChatGPT. You can ask it to help do your homework. You can do all sorts of things. There's even a tool called Agent GPT. So someone online actually asked it to take over the world, and it started computing ways and planning its way to actually do so.
Yeah, I remember when ChatGPT came out and people were asking it how to do like crazy stuff, like set fire to someone's house, and then it would say, no, I can't tell you that. But then they would say, what if I was to pretend set fire to someone's house, and just came up with this super detailed way to like commit arson, basically. Wow. So yeah, there's a lot of technology. There's a lot of information out there for people who want to learn and be self-seeking. I do have to ask you now that I've got you here though, what do you think is going to happen with the future of AI?
That's a good question.
We're really gazing into the future now.
Yeah, no, the future. Okay, so do I think it's going to be... Do you know the movie with Will Smith?
iRobot?
iRobot.
Yeah.
Do I think it's going to be that? What, futures in 10 years or 50 years?
Let's talk about our lifespans, right? So things that we're likely to see in our lifetimes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, have you seen Ready Player One?
I've seen that, yeah.
I think towards the end, it can get like that. Towards the end of our lifespans. That's when they're go in the game, and it's just, everyone's just stuck in the game. Because have you seen Apple Vision Pro? So that's coming next year.
Yeah.
That's just next year.
Yeah.
So imagine 10 years from now, that's everywhere now. Price has gone down, there's lots more competition. When Apple does something, release AirPods, all the Chinese makers are on it. So yeah, 10 years, that's going to be just looking into just glasses is going to be normal. So imagine, so Ready Player One, yeah, by the end of our lifespans. But iRobot, it's just, you know what it is? It's whether you would think they'll code it in a way where it does what it's told, but then eventually, robots. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think that iRobot can happen? You know,
I saw iRobot a long time ago, but that's kind of like a machines taking over type situation.
Oh, not
right?
AI. Okay.
I think that one of the things that will happen with AI is that at the moment, so we're both content creators. This is a piece of content that we're making, and we're going to upload it to YouTube in long form, and we'll probably chop it up into clips and post it on the likes of TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram. Whenever you post content online, you essentially create a digital clone of yourself that says the same thing on repeat wherever you upload yourself to, right? Yeah. What I think AI will enable us to do is to animate these digital clones so that everyone has at least two versions of themselves. You're going to have your real life self that goes around and talks to people and solves problems and offers products and services. But then you're going to have your digital self that's going to be going around talking to people. So there's going to be Poku GPT, or whatever you want to call it, who's going around at the highest fidelity level, is going to be indistinguishable from you, but it may be saying things based on stuff you've uploaded to the internet. That's what I think is going to happen. And the reason why I think that's going to happen is because when you go on YouTube already, you got Jay-Z singing songs that he never performed, and you got Kanye West singing Taylor Swift songs and stuff. So it means that anyone can be anyone at any time.
Yeah.
It's a bit wild. And I don't know whether you're going to have two versions of you, or whether there's going to be like 1,000 versions of you. But that's what I think is going to happen in content creation.
Obviously, I've seen record labels try to combat that, but
but can you?
Yeah, can you? How can you police that to the extent, you know? So it's going to be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting. And then I feel like then people will start valuing real life interactions.
Absolutely.
And I think there'll be ways where you can distinguish, okay, this is organic, this is real. But then, you know, people will take advantage of the AI it might save you time. So it's for sure.
And on the point, that's a really good point you made, on the point about knowing whether people are real or not, that's where verification comes in, right? That's what we currently have to know who's who online. Yeah. But one thing that I find that's interesting about verification is we haven't all decided what verification means on different platforms. On Twitter, it's like you pay a subscription. On Instagram, it used to be that you were well known, and then you got it. On TikTok, it's like a different set of rules. It's similar to like the way Instagram used to be, because now you can pay for it on Instagram. What's your take on the verification thing? Like, how do you think that people should show their real self online? Because you've had people copy your accounts.
Yeah. No, for me specifically, and it's bad because since I talk about finance, those that copy my accounts looking to target my followers and, you know, try and get money from them and whatnot, it's more realistic and it's more believable. So I needed verification ASAP, but it took them a while anyway. But thanks to my news articles, that showed that I was a person of interest or public interest, which then gave me my verification. You know, 2 months before the paid one started coming out. So I had 2 months of a honeymoon, and then everyone started getting it. So now it's less meaningful. Yes, I did have to show my ID to prove that I am myself, But yeah, I feel like what does verification mean and what it should entail? I feel anyone that can be duplicated and then go on to scam their followers, I feel like they need verification. So that may mean as simply as just showing ID to show it's them. But I do think maybe different. I do think for Instagram specifically, there should be different colors. You know, I think Twitter have already started it, so I think there's a gold one for actual organizations, but everyone else is a tick. So but then I see even weird pages with ticks, so it's like it doesn't really matter as much. Whereas on Instagram, I believe right now it's fine how it is, but yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, because on Insta, I haven't actually said this publicly, but I remember you got verified, and then we spoke. I was like, no, I'm gonna apply again, and I did it, and I got it that week. But then they changed the rules so that you could pay for it, and if they go the same way as Twitter, then they might remove even the people who had it originally. They might take it away.
Yeah, but I think there was a report that said they made 600 million The first month. That's a reoccurring. That's a reoccurring.
It's a big money spinner for them for sure.
Yeah, like it's just they haven't done anything to the app. They just makes sense. Wait for Twitter to do it. See how it goes. Okay, it's making sense. Let's do it.
And in a way, it makes Elon Musk one of the most influential people in the world, right? He just buys Twitter, says we're changing the thing, and then other platforms start copying him. And you mentioned something in that, Poku, where you said you're almost a person of interest, a public figure, if you will. And I just wonder if this is how do you feel about that? I've been out and about with you, and I've seen people just like stop and ask for pictures and like point and see you and stuff. That's not something that you can necessarily prepare for when you start a social media platform from your bedroom in a pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So if I can call it fame, like how has fame been? How do you deal with it? Both in a day-to-day sense, but also from a mental health perspective as well. And that can be positive or negative.
Yeah, no, it's been great so far because number one, I'm famous for a very respectable topic. I'm famous for good things. And not only that, it's shown in the people that I meet on a day-to-day basis, that people's lives have changed or people's mindsets have changed. And it's crazy because back when I started blowing up, a lot of people remember me specifically from that. And it just shows that when you add value to someone's life or you change their mindset, they'll never forget you. So then it's great to see that I've impacted people greatly. I like to say that I've upped the the GDP of the UK just off the set of videos. And it may not be indirectly, but people might have watched my video and thought, you know what, I'm gonna start this business. They may not attribute credit to me, but subconsciously just off, or maybe I influenced someone else to start videos and they then were influenced to then start a business. So yeah, I can surely say that I've upped the GDP of the UK, most definitely. Yes, they're saving, but people are creating businesses and creating value.
I like that.
So yeah, no, it's great. So how do I deal with it? I'm very humble with it though. When people approach me, they don't, you wouldn't think, anything too much of me. You just think, okay, that's the guy. I don't try at too famous or whatnot. So, but yeah, no, how I deal with it, yeah, it's as simple as in terms of locations and where I'm going to, I post after I've been. So let's say I was
that's a good idea.
So like wherever, let's say I'm at a public place, I'll post it once I've left the place. Number two, I try not to wear headphones in public. I just try to I just want to listen to the ambience, I just want to listen. So when I'm out and about, I just want to know my surroundings. And then, I say that's how I deal with it. Online, even with online, now when it comes to being online, I guess I comment less on things. I can't talk on certain subjects anymore. Not that I would anyway, but I just comment less on things anyway. Yeah.
At the start of the episode, you mentioned leaving the country, which I have just in response to what people might want to do to the economic situation.
Yeah.
And on the subject of you like posting where you've been, people go on your socials will see that you like to travel, you value experiences over things, you like to broaden, just your experiences. Would you leave the UK? Or is that something people...
Temporarily. I think having the UK as a base is very great. A lot of people want to fully move out, but I think geographically it's great. You can get to Africa, you can get to America. Geographically, I think it's great. It's also the UK is just a powerhouse. It's just, in terms of networking, in terms of businesses and brands right here, it's great. I also think in terms of business as well, for example, I know a lot of people, they want to move out to do property elsewhere, or start a business elsewhere, and which makes sense. It could make sense for your situation. But I do believe if you can conquer the UK which is known for its regulation, the competition, then you can anywhere else in the world is a piece of cake. So the UK, I don't think I'll ever leave. It'll always be a base. Temporarily, yes, I might spend 6 months of a year out of the country or 3 months of a year out of the country, but to fully leave, I don't think so. No.
Okay. I think I agree with that too. I think that whilst things in the UK are quite tricky at the moment, and we don't want to trivialize that, looking from the outside in, this country's got a lot of potential and a lot of things going for it. My brother told me the other day, English has replaced Mandarin as the most spoken language in the whole world.
Wow.
Again. So it used to be most spoken second language, I believe, but now it's just the most overall.
Yeah.
So that makes English the language of business and of media, which is huge.
Yeah.
And when it comes to business, whenever I speak to people from other countries, they say the UK is one of the easiest countries to start a business in.
Yeah.
Which is very useful for people who want to improve their situations.
No, for sure. I always thought, I knew Mandarin was the highest, but I thought it was more just the sheer number of people in China. But I was always shocked that outclips, UK, America, and then all the other countries that learn as a second language. So I was always surprised by that. But it's great to see that. Well, yeah, it's great. It's great for me anyway to see that it's overcome.
Mm-hmm. Of the experiences that you've had over the past 3 years as a content creator, any highlights? Anything that maybe not regret, but like anything that you would do differently?
Yeah, I think I would have made maybe a personal page and then had the business page.
Right.
Because I always saw it as like, okay, cool, my personal page has the most, but it has, at the time, it had like 1.5K followers. So I thought, to give myself a boost, if I'm gonna post content here, I want as much, I want as much help as possible. So yeah, using that. But then now that I've kept that, that means now the page that I currently use is now also my personal. So I'm now doing personal and business on the same page. So when I'm scrolling, I'm seeing personal things, but I'm also seeing business things. If I was to go back, yeah, it would have been nice to have a separate page. And anything else, I'll just say, yeah, no. But other than that, I'd say the way things have gone, it's been great. Anything else I'll do differently? No, I wouldn't say. Content-wise, no. No.
Yeah, I think you've achieved an enormous amount in the next 3 years, and I'm curious to know what like the rest of this decade looks like.
Yeah, no, the rest of the decade. So TV is definitely something I need to explore.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely the next step. But I think what it is. I got the platform now. I'm more focused. Yes, the socials will always be there, but I'm more focused on like things outside of the socials, business outside of the socials. It's what I've been focused on, to be fair, for the past 2 years anyway. I've been, socials is, what I think on a daily basis, but I'm thinking a lot about things outside of the socials.
Can you share?
Yeah, like for example, the Gen Z Club.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so events.
Yeah. I'm focusing on creating streams outside of socials. Ever since, I think 2020, end of 2020, I nearly got cancelled on Twitter. And ever since then, I realized, wait a minute, one tweet could end my career. So having this as my only source, that doesn't make sense. So from there, I just made sure just to be doing things outside of socials or using social media as a platform to just branch off and get things done. So get into property investment, get into property development, currency trading, Gen Z Club. So having other things on the side, that's what I've been focusing on a lot.
Yeah, you did a post about the importance of making offline money and online money.
Yeah.
As a diversification thing. So yeah, you have your not entirely online business, but like quite a lot of it online is Poku Banks.
Yeah.
But then you also run the Gen Z Club, and then you have your own money-making investment initiatives on the side as well in terms of property and currency. How do you find the energy to do all of these things at the same time?
I will be real, I'm still, it's not perfect.
Okay.
I'm not going to act like, I'm doing it consistently. No, I'm not going to come in and do that. It's still a work in progress. Really and truly, what it requires is high discipline and a lot of shutting out of distractions, That's what it really requires. Like, I know that's what it requires to be able to soul live out efficiently. So today, for example, today was a content day. Today was, in terms of work, what I did today was a content day. I'm doing this. I shot some videos earlier, and that will last me for the week. Now, I won't be shooting content again until probably next week. So therefore, now tomorrow will probably be more focused on maybe the Gen Z Club.
Right.
I will obviously be doing a little bit of content, like for example, instructing my editors on what to do or uploading it to but I've done the hard bit of it. So tomorrow will be now focused on, maybe the Gen Z club, other things. And then obviously I just spend maybe 10 minutes just uploading and sorting it out. But that's how I kind of block up my life. Just I have days dedicated to certain things.
Yeah, you batch it, which is a good approach because everything that you do has a startup cost. Whether if you're doing an event somewhere, then you definitely need to travel to that event, and then you're there for however long you're there. If you're shooting content, then you need to set up your phone or your camera and your lights. Yeah. So once you've encountered that startup cost, it is efficient to then spend as long as you need to doing that thing before you then come back to it again. That's sensible. You recently met Mo, the comedian.
Yes, yeah.
What was that like? What's he like?
Yeah, no, he's bubbly, like off camera. He's himself. He's a good guy, man. He's a really good guy. I was getting some advice from him, even outside of social media, just general life advice.
Oh, cool.
I don't know why I didn't know, but he's 35. I don't know why that took me. I don't know why I didn't think. I thought he was like late 20s for some reason, but So just giving me life advice. He's cool, man. Obviously, we met as we was both on a brand deal with Sky. So it was good. It was good, man. No, it was good to meet him. He's cool. He's cool.
All right. Can you speak any more about what you were working on, or is that?
Oh no. So Sky Stream essentially it's basically an application by Sky where you can stream all your latest TV shows, comedy films, and whatnot.
They got rid of the dish.
Yeah. So it's more like an Amazon Fire Stick type style type of thing. And essentially, what they wanted to do, they wanted to run a simplified series. So Sky brought Mo the comedian as a host, and then they wanted many experts, whether that's in the dating field, wellness field, psychology, field, and then finance field, which is myself. So essentially, they got Mo to then ask questions and how we can then simplify life. So I've simplified life through finance. One of the main things I'll speak about on the Sky Stream was the cost per use. So essentially, to find out the true value of something, you want to get the price and divide it by the predicted amount of uses. And then that's how you can make wiser spending decisions. So this means, so then people stop looking at price and then how much it's going to be used, how durable it is, how long it's going to last you, and then you can make more wiser decisions throughout life. So that's what it was all about. And it was good to see him. And he even actually mentioned to me that so he started stand up. And I was thinking about you when he said this. He started stand up. So he's 35. He started stand up at 19, and he only got traction at the age 29, 30. And he's risen to fame in the last 5 years. So when he said it to me, it's just like, wow, we got time. Got to
play the long game.
Yeah, so that's.
I remember being younger and there just being a rush in my head. I don't know whether there actually was a rush or whether it was just something that I told myself, about feeling like I needed to achieve everything overnight. But then you hear stories of people like Mo the comedian. So I used to run a graphic design business back in uni for not just my uni, ACS, but ACSs all over the country. I remember putting him on a flyer back then for a show. He's been around for a long time.
Wow.
And he's just been plugging away. And what we say in finance is like, you need to invest for the long term. Well, that is the case for financial assets, but it's also the case for you as well. If you're investing in yourself,
for sure,
it might take 10 years for investment to pay off, but once it pays off, it pays off.
Yeah, exactly. The investment yourself can be infinite returns. Infinite. So yeah, I always say start with that. Start with yourself, because everything around you, everything that happens as a direct outcome of you or result of you is because of the mindset. It's because of how you're feeling. It's because of the decisions you're making. And you're only allowed to make these decisions if you have the information or if you're in the right mindset mentally to then, make these decisions to then happen, to affect your businesses, your content and whatnot. So yeah, yourself definitely comes first.
How can people invest in themselves? How have you invested in yourself?
Obviously the simple things are courses and books, but then there's more things to it. So even traveling, you get experience from, see how different cultures live their life. It allows you to develop humility and whatnot. Traveling, gym membership can help you. Health is wealth. So just to get you right, I feel like having consistency in the gym can help you with other ways like business and whatnot. So gym, courses, even things as little as like, therapy, that's also an investment to yourself, making sure that your mind is right. So anything that makes you, what makes you feel happy or makes you feel more fulfilled, I feel like if that can then help your ability to make money or make sounder decisions, that's an investment in yourself. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I've got two more things I want to ask you, and then I have a question I ask all the guests on the show. The other thing I wanted to ask you is like last month, the Sunday Times Rich List came out.
Yes.
And I haven't read it yet, but I do like to just flick through and see where the old money is coming from, where the new money is coming from. So by new money, I'm thinking of people like KSI, for example, YouTubers, people on social, a lot of entertainers in there, a lot of sports people in there too, particularly for the younger people. If I was to take away everything from you today, all your money, all your followers, your network as well, I left you only with your skills.
Yeah.
What are you starting to make money and why?
I would say, just to make money, but my skills, I would either say, it's a good one. There's a few I can start, but to get onto the Sunday Times Rich List, or is that how you just intro it?
Yeah, that was just how I introed it. But the main question is around like the ways in which people are making money in this day and age. So I've taken away it's like a video game. I've hit the button. You've lost all your powers, all your like buffs and stuff, and you're just Poku Banks, just with the knowledge that you have in your head. So what are you starting to make money?
I would start one of the side hustles I know. So if I'm starting from zero, I'll get a job. I'll get a job first, get some income in. With that income, I would either start Amazon FBA. The reason I say Amazon FBA is because Amazon, a lot of people shop on Amazon. Jeff Bezos was one of the richest people in the world. So I used to think of it as like, as long as he's getting richer, you'll get richer with him if you're focusing on, selling on Amazon FBA. So that's basically sourcing products from wherever and then I'm putting it on there. You can make your return that way. I've always said that because, and the reason I say that is because I don't have the network. In the question, I don't have the network, but based off what I know right now, I know that a lot of my friends that have started Amazon FBA, they're all successful. I don't see many people failing. So, but I wouldn't start now because that's me going out my way to just, I'm literally leaving my journey to start a whole new journey. So that's why I want to do it now. But I'll probably start that. And then eventually once I gather enough, I'll go into property development. Property development. I'll just flip my way up and start networking, gaining private investment, and build a portfolio that way.
That's very interesting.
I was going to say trading. To be fair, it could be either, so it could be, anyone listening, it'll probably be Amazon FBA, trading, or property development.
So just raw income generation skills.
Yeah, raw income. But I mean, if I have the knowledge I have now, you could say I probably would start, based on my personality, I probably would start creating content again. I probably would start documenting, knowing me, I probably would start documenting my journey. So maybe it might not be the same way I've done it now, but I might just be known as the property guy or the Amazon guy or the trading guy. So I might have documented my journey and then making more money that way through socials. Yeah. I think if you strip me of everything, I will make my way back on the socials one way or another. I will make my way back onto it because the money online is too good to mess up on. It's too good.
Heard that here first, everyone.
Yeah, no, the money online, if you're completely offline, fair enough, but you can double your money. You could double your bag just by going online. Literally just by going online. Just selling online. If you own a store, just by going online. If you own a shop, just by going on delivery or Just Eat, you can double your money. So to completely ignore that, that isn't wise in my opinion.
There's a question I like to ask everyone that comes on the show. Thank you for coming on, by the way. It's really fascinating talking to you about your journey so far. Yeah. We think about what's going on in the country at the moment, but also your views on the future as well. And just thinking about what you said about like Mo, the comedian's life, even though you may not have started in all the routes that you just described, life is long, potentially. So you can do all those different things.
Yeah.
I think about Warren Buffett, being relatively unknown, virtually unknown until he was in his 50s.
Yeah, literally.
That's again one of the wealthiest people on the planet, very influential and good guy, I'd say. But the question I'd like to ask everyone is, what's the best piece of financial advice you've ever received? Who shared it with you, and what did it teach you?
Best piece of financial... it's a hard one because I think I receive best pieces of financial advice every year. Best piece. Well, I think the best piece... Who told me though? A lot of things I found online, but then do I remember the source? Okay, first of all, I just want to give shout out to Robert Kiyosaki, just for making Rich Dad Poor Dad. The book itself isn't highly specific or whatnot, but it's there to just, if that's your first book into finance, it's just there to show you, this is the game they're playing. This is the game the wealthy are playing. Like, before I just used to think of, okay, to get a job, to get wealthy, you need to work hard, go to uni, get a job, save, boom, boom, boom. But then that book showed me, there's another game, the business game, owning assets, having employees, or being an investor. That was a book that showed me, okay, there's another game that people are playing that I need to get onto. But I say the best piece of advice is simply that wealth lies in between how much money you're making and how much money you're spending. That's where the wealth is. So if you make this much and you spend this much, your wealth is here. This wealth is what you can use to then invest to then go on longer. That's, I think, simply, that's what finance is in a nutshell. And that's what I try to tell people. Some people, no one really says this, but I know some people may be thinking, your content may be repetitive, or your content isn't, you need to think of new ideas. No, finance is a 1,000-year-old subject. The principles never changed. The Rich Man of Babylon was made a long time ago, so the principles of it never changes. It's just that maybe there may be new products now where you can apply the information to.
New technologies and stuff.
New technology, the introduction of credit, buy now, pay later, all the crypto. So there's new things to apply it to, new products to apply it to, but it never changes. Your wealth lies in between how much money you spend and how much money you make. Now, so if there's a gap, you can use that term and make money. And if it's negative, then you can be, and if it continues to be negative, you can be in big trouble.
Okay, so I guess the shout outs to Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, but where I learned that one, I think I just read it online or I just realized it myself type of thing. Yeah, I wasn't saying someone specifically said, Poku, make sure you save money. Yeah, but I think just knowing that the gap, like, it's literally just knowing that, that's where wealth is made.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, Poku. It's always great to speak to you. I learn a lot from you when I talk to you as well. And I already know your future is going to be bright and successful. It's just a privilege to watch and see what you've been doing. So
I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's good. Good to see you, man. Smooth.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Mr. Money Jar Show. If you enjoyed it, then please do subscribe, as it helps out the show a lot and enables us to continue running. Anyway, we'll be back next week with another special guest. I've been your host, Timi Merriman-Johnson.